Most men think that getting healthy is just about looking better in the mirror, having more energy, and maybe living a little bit longer. But what if I told you that your current habits, your biology, and your blood markers are programming your children's future, not just habitually, but at a genetic level too? What if I told you that your fatigue, your belly fat, your burnout aren't just hurting you, but they're setting your kids up for the same struggles? This isn't fear-mongering, it's science. And in this video, I'm going to break down how your health as a man, and especially as a father, is the foundation of generational strength or generational weakness. But first, I want to preface this video by letting you know that I understand the challenges of being an ambitious, high-performing man whilst also being a father. I've been a successful and driven business owner for over a decade and a father for almost the same amount of time. And I'll be the first person to say that it's not all easy. There are logistical and emotional challenges that we face as fathers that non-fathers simply cannot relate to and never will until they experience the true blessing that it is to be a father themselves. But with that blessing comes responsibility. A responsibility that many men misconstrue and end up creating negative generational patterns and even trauma that repeats in their children and their grandchildren. Let me be clear here. Sacrificing your health in the name of success or in service to your family and children is not valiant. It's a contradiction. Because the reality is, you're doing them a disservice by doing so. You're teaching them a very, very poor lesson, and you're setting them up for a similar life with similar standards and similar values of self-neglect. And what's the point of being successful if you feel like shit, you dislike yourself, and you're setting yourself and your kids up for chronic illness? There's no point being the richest man in the graveyard. Let's talk about a word that's going to change the way you look at your health forever. Epigenetics. Now, this isn't sci-fi and it's not pseudoscience. This is cold, hard, data-backed truth. And it's something that every father needs to hear. Your body is a blueprint, not just for your life, but for your children's too. You're not just living with the consequences of your choices, you're passing them on. Here's how it works. You have DNA, your genetic code, that's fixed. You can't change the letters, but on top of that code is a system of switches, and those switches tell your body which genes to activate and which ones to silence. That's epigenetics, the software that runs your genetic hardware. And what controls those switches? Your stress levels, your nutrition, your sleep, the levels of inflammation in your body, your hormones, your toxic exposure. All of that, everything you do creates a biochemical environment inside your body. And that environment is shaping your gene expression in real time. So if you've got high cortisol, low testosterone, chronic gut issues, or any other dysfunction, you're not just feeling the effects yourself, you're changing the biological code you're handing down. You're passing on your predisposition to all chronic disease and dysfunction. So, you have to decide whether you're going to be responsible for the weakening of your bloodline through neglecting your health and eroding the integrity of your DNA, switching on the genes that create turmoil in your body and the bodies of your future generations, whilst also creating generational patterns of behavior that lead to a continued decrease in performance and standards of health, or whether you're going to be the change your children need by choosing to live a more purposeful life with actions that create generational happiness, success, and longevity. The choice is yours. Here's a truth that most men ignore. Your kids aren't following your advice, they're copying your energy, your habits, and your standards. If they see a man who drags himself through the front door every evening, snaps at their mum because work strained him, slumps on the sofa with a beer and Deliveroo, moans about his energy and motivation, skips workouts and scrolls his phone while they play, and says, "I'm too tired" every time they ask for attention on the weekend, what do you honestly think they are learning? Life is exhausting, that health doesn't matter, that being a man means surviving and not thriving. Now, let's flip it. Imagine what happens when they grow up watching a different kind of man. A father who walks in with presence and purpose, who trains because his body is an asset, who eats to fuel his energy, not numb his stress, who's calm under pressure, leads with discipline, and gives them his full attention. That's not just a fit dad, that's not just healthy, that's a man showing his children, without words, how to live with strength, self-respect, and purpose. That's an alpha father. Not perfect, but intentional, consistent, and leading from the front. And here's the kicker. They won't just copy that, they'll become it. Let's get real. Childhood obesity is rising. Type 2 diabetes is showing up in teenagers. Anxiety, depression, ADHD, low energy, all creeping into our sons before they hit puberty. Where do you think they're getting it from? It's not just school lunches and screen time, it's the environment at home, and that all starts with you. As the man, as the leader, your health sets the tone. And if you're running on empty, burnt out, running your business but wrecking your body in the process, you're sending the wrong message. Success equals sacrifice, work equals pain, age equals decline. But it doesn't have to be that way. Take my client Darren, for example. For years, by his own admission, he was setting the wrong example to his son. Binging on processed junk food, drinking to de-stress from long hours of work, lounging on the sofa and passing down the actions and beliefs that promoted a lack of self-control. He was undisciplined and unhappy, and the way he was living was setting the stage for his son to follow suit. But he was adamant that he wasn't going to be responsible for creating a future of ill health, low standards, and ultimately a lack of self-love and self-respect for him. His mind was made up, and through working together to first optimize his biology, get him firing on all cylinders, then to build a remarkable physique that would make any man jealous, Darren completely transformed his life and set a new standard for himself and his son. The biggest win of all, Darren's son has adopted his new routine in his teens and began training hard, eating well, and demanding more from himself after seeing how his dad was showing up every day. Proof of concept. Proof that the way we live as fathers directly changes the way our children live. They are always paying attention. Make sure you're leading by example. At Alpha 21, we don't just optimize to get you abs. We optimize health to build generational longevity, success, and ultimately happiness. Our protocol, blood work, biomarkers, tailored systems. It's designed to give you your edge back, because when you fix the internal, the external follows suit. More energy, more strength, more clarity, more presence. That's what your kids will see. That's what they'll remember. That's what they'll become. As fathers, we are leading from the front whether we like it or not. And our standards will ultimately become our children's standards. Listen, you don't need to be perfect, but you do need to lead. Because if you're not actively building a future of strength, you're passively allowing a future of struggle. Your kids won't become who you tell them to be. They'll become a reflection of who you are. So the real question is, what version of yourself are you handing down? Because if it's the exhausted, stressed, low energy version of you, it's time to change that. If this hit home, if you're a man who knows he's meant for more, then this is your wake-up call. We offer free functional health assessments to help men like you look beneath the surface and finally understand what's going on inside their body, so they can lead by example. Click the link below to book a free call. We'll run you through your symptoms, your health history, and see what it's going to take to become the alpha father for your family.